Hi, I'm Ace.
And I'm Jace.
And we're the PokéTwins. Today we're going to do our first type spotlight on one of my personal favorites, Poison types. Poison is the 9th most common type in Pokemon, with 8% of Pokemon containing at least one poison typing. They also have the added benefit of removing toxic spikes when switched into their side of the field, as long as they're grounded.
And they're immune to the poison status completely, except in Gen 2, where they could be poisoned with Twinneedle.
That is the only possible way to poison a poison-type Pokemon is in Generation 2 with the move Twinneedle.
And you shouldn't do it, because Twinneedle is terrible.
It's really bad.
It's quite bad. Poison type is only super effective against Grass and Fairy, but it's resistant to Grass, Fairy, Bug Fighting, and Poison.
Poison is only weak to 2 types, Ground and Psychic, so when building a Poison-type team, it's a good idea to use Poison types with Flying, which is only the Crobat line, or Poison types with Levitate, such as Weezing. Steel-type Pokemon are not affected by Poison-type moves at all. There are 49 Pokemon that are not affected by Poison-type moves. There are 94 Pokemon that are hit super effectively by Poison-type moves.
With the exception of Arceus holding a Toxic Plate, there are no Poison-type legendary Pokemon.
Which is really, really sad because I think Poison types are super nifty. Also, if you're about to leave us a YouTube comment to tell us that it's pronounced Arceus and not Arceus, you knew who we were talking about, and the point is moot. Now, Poison moves, some of them are pretty interesting. There's one called Acid Armor that effectively doubles your defense. It is learned by 15 different Pokemon lines, but only 3 of those are Poison types.
Oh.
One of the ones that can't, though, is Vaporeon.
And one is Slugma?
Let's find a list.
Yeah.
Your ghost jellyfish can learn it.
Oh, spooky.
Skrelp is a poison type. That's good. Goomy. I can see it. Shelmet. Vanillux. I don't know what kind of ice cream that's made of.
Acid.
Acid flavor ice cream. And Cryogonal. The why does this exist Pokemon.
I'm a snowflake.
Yep. Do you want to breed a snowflake?
I do. They're really fast.
Are they?
So fast.
Good to know. Another popular poison move is Toxic. Toxic has been TM6 since Generation 1.
And it always will be.
Probably.
Toxic badly poisons the target, which instead of taking 1/8 of its HP each turn, takes 1/16 cumulatively. So 1/16, 1/8, 3/16, 2/8, which is 1/4, and so on until, hideous, horrible death.
For those of you who don't math, each turn it takes an additional 1/16 of a Pokemon's HP. So from full HP, you can faint any Pokemon after badly poisoning it in 6 turns.
This has the additional advantage over regular poison of being unhealable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not incurable, but the cumulative effect means even if you keep using Recover, you will eventually wither and die.
Also, if
Faint.
you are badly poisoned and then are healed from it from a move like, is it Refresh? Or Heal Bell?
Yeah, or aromatherapy.
One of those. If you're badly poisoned again, the counter stays the same if you're still on the field.
So, poison Pokemon using Toxic have perfect accuracy.
Even if you're using Fly or Dig.
So that's nasty. Whereas normal Pokemon only have 90% accuracy, which is still not terrible. Almost all poison-type attacks have a chance of inflicting the poison status condition, usually between 10 and 30%. Only Poison Fang can badly poison, apart from Toxic, and it has a 50% chance of doing that.
Which is excellent on a Crobat.
Yes.
Just a heads up.
Also on anything with Strong Jaw.
If you have a Pokemon with Poison Heal on your team...
And you should.
You really should. It's an excellent ability. If it is poisoned, badly poisoned, by Toxic or a Toxic Orb, and its ability becomes repressed, it will start taking toxic damage as though it was taking toxic damage the entire time. For instance, you've got a Gliscor with Poison Heal. It's been healing 1/8 of its HP every turn after being poisoned by a Toxic Orb. On its 3rd turn, if its ability is repressed, it will take 3/16 of toxic damage. As far as poison type moves go, Toxic and Acid Armor are very interesting. Our two personal favorites are actually the highest damaging poison type moves.
Naturally. Gunk Shot, which has 120 base damage and 80 accuracy. And you just, as of Gen 6, 5? One of them, throw a trash can at the enemy, which I enjoy using with the big gangster panda, because it seems appropriate.
Just get out of my alley. I am personally a big fan of Belch, which is also 120 base damage. In this case, it's a special attack instead of a physical. You have to eat a berry at some point during the battle before you use Belch, but then you can burp at your opponent as often as you want, and it's 90% accuracy and hits all targets.
And it's disgusting.
It's really gross.
You can eat someone else's berry using Bug Bite or Snatch. Snatch? Not Snatch.
Pluck.
Pluck.
The only time a poison move is going to have a higher base damage is if you use Venoshock and the target is already poisoned. Venoshock has a base 65 damage, but doubles if the target's already poisoned, but then you would have to have 2 poison type moves in your moveset, and type coverage, that's not always a wise choice. Unless you go with Venoshock and Toxic. That wouldn't be terrible. If you are building a monotyped poison team, which I did, it's a whole lot of fun, there are a couple of things you need to consider. First off, it's weak to ground, so be careful of Earthquakers. I highly recommend Crobat and or Weezing and or anything with an air balloon that cannot get hit by Earthquake.
Since over 50% of the currently released Poison-type Pokemon were released in Gen 1, many of them have ridiculously diverse move pools.
Very.
Since in Gen 1, most things could learn most TMs if they had the body parts to use them.
The Gen 3 Move Tutor, and consequently the Aurus Move Tutor, is fairly ridiculous in the Pokemon that can learn specific moves. Nidoking, for example, a good poison-type Pokemon, one that I personally have on my team. With its sheer force ability, it can negate any additional effects of attacks for a 50% boost. Add that to a Life Orb, and Poison Jab gets base 202 damage, which is over twice a non-stab boosted Earthquake.
Math sure is fun.
A stab boost, for those of you that don't know, stands for same type attack bonus. Anytime a Pokemon uses a move that matches with one of its types, it will do damage and a half. Other moves added to Nidoking are, of course, Earthquake, which is a fantastic move. There's a reason everybody runs Earthquake. It's because it's 100 base power and 100% accuracy. Earthquake, Poison Jab, Fire Punch, and Ice Punch will hit over half of Pokemon super effectively and all of the rest of the Pokemon with neutral damage. If you add on Sheer Force and a Life Orb, plus the stab boost for Earthquake and Poison Jab, it's a pretty hefty move pool. Another one of my personal favorites is Toxicroak. Dry Skin has the added benefit of jumping into water moves, healing a little bit of HP. Even though it takes 4 times damage from Psychic-type Pokemon, a well-timed Life Orb or Expert Belt boosted Sucker Punch. Goodbye, Alakazam. Okay.
My favorite Poison-type Pokemon is Gengar, because it's round. Gengar kicks unreasonable amounts of butt.
It does.
It's very fast, it's very strong.
And it will take you down with it.
Yes. I prefer regular Gengar to Mega Gengar because a regular Gengar with a Focus Sash, it has a pretty good chance of taking out a Mega Gengar. It's its own counter.
It's also immune to Earthquake because of its Levitate ability.
It's so round though. I just want to hug it, but I can't. It's made out of poison gas. Maybe. Does it solidify? Is that why it's...
I don't know.
Gengar, the congealed ooze Pokemon.
I thought that was Goodra.
It probably is.
Why isn't Goodra a poison type?
God only
knows. It's all
knows.
Purple and drippy. I know I'm talking about my personal Pokemon because I have just finished building a poison team I'm very attached to. Jace runs his Gengar, but there's 6 on my team as opposed to just 1. One of them is his Gengar. It's nice to run. I've also got Toxicroak, a Mega Venusaur, which is great with its Mega ability, Thick Fat, negates 2 of its type weaknesses. It only takes neutral damage from fire and ice. I've also got Nidoking, Toxicroak, Drapion and Crobat. I really enjoy having Drapion, Toxicroak, Crobat, and Gengar because you're able to switch out between the 4 to negate a whole lot of Pokemon attacks. You can send out Toxicroak for water, you can send out Drapion for psychic, you can send out Crobat for ground, Gengar for ground, or fighting, or normal. So it's good. Poison is a very defensive type, and using those Pokemon's abilities and typing is very useful. You can have defensive Pokemon with really, really strong offenses because you're negating your enemy's turn, essentially. There are 2 abilities that are only accessible to Poison-type Pokemon. My personal favorite is Liquid Ooze, which damages you if you use an absorbing move instead of healing you. So, sorry about that Giga Drain, except not really.
Against all logic, my favorite Poison-type ability is Stench. It gives your attacks an additional flinch chance, which would be great if it weren't only given to slow Pokemon. These being Muk and the Skunk line, Stunky and Stank. Stinkity.
That's his street name.
Yo. Okay.
Skuntank. It also has... I can't even say it with a straight face. It also decreases your wild Pokemon encounters if it leads your party.
Embrace the stank!
In the song To Be a Master, which was released on Pokemon CD, it tells us first we have to know about the different types: grass, fire, ground, flame, electric, water, rock, flying, ice, normal, bug, ghost, fighting, and dragon.
Don't forget about psychic.
Don't forget about psychic! But they did forget about poison. Instead, they mentioned the flame type, which is the name used in Japan for the fire type, and fire is also mentioned. Yeah. So they forgot about the poison type. Poor thing.
Since over 50% of the currently released Poison-type Pokemon are hilarious. Seriously, trash bag? Goop pile? Flying goop pile? What's your deal, man?
I read a post on Tumblr, and we're on Tumblr. The PokemonTwins.tumblr.com was complaining about, why would you diss ice cream Pokemon and trash bag Pokemon when Gen 1 had such classics as 6 Eggs and Egg Tree?
Oh, Egg Tree. I liked Egg Tree a lot.
Yeah, Egg Tree is really, really lousy.
It's immensely terrible, yeah. What's your favorite Poison-type Pokemon? Tell us in the comments.
I don't wanna.
Relinquish unto me your favorite Poison-type Pokemon.
Let us know what your favorite Pokemon type is in the comments so that we know which type spotlight to cover next.